Look, guys, life is supposed to be simple. Everything in our reality is designed to make you think that it's not supposed to be simple so that you will buy a product or a service or whatever. And there are a lot of services that complicate things and overcomplicate things, and complete industries, three-letter agencies, especially in the US, that will make things so complicated that you have to spend all this money to try and figure it out. The whole legal system is based off of lawyers having a language you can't understand to complicate things. But law is pretty simple. So what's funny is I just chat GPT'd all these prompts and titles to look at for inspiration. I pull it up on my phone. I sit down to record this video. I touch the tobacco, the sacred tobacco. And I'm like, yep, not talking about any of this. I'm going to talk about what's in my heart right now. So simple. We don't need all these layers in between us and other people. What is happening right now with AI in technology is there's a great divide occurring. If you are attracted to my videos right now, my YouTube videos of the now, not my old videos. My old videos, some of them are still me just talking, heading it in a room or something. But now I do it in nature. I do it with a cigar. I do it walking. I do it having fun. It's a completely different energy. And I'm getting all these YouTubers now that pop up on my feed who are doing the same thing. And what I'm seeing is there's a shift in consciousness right now where people are so overstimulated and they're sick of these short form constant dopamine pushes that continue to just fry our nervous systems, and they just want simplicity. So like we're kind of going back, although watching a 45-minute YouTube video is still going to fry your nervous system to an extent. It's almost retraining your attention span to go from watching a bunch of short form content to actually being able to sit through a video and implement it and retain the whole thing. And if you're listening to the podcast, podcasting is actually usually better for people because you can listen to it driving. You're driving through nature and you're listening to something. Whereas if we're just sitting on our phone 3, 4, 5 hours a day, watching content, it starts pulling us away from the actual solitude we need to be content. The content takes us away from contentment. And so it doesn't matter if you want results in business, in your personal life, whatever it is, just go back to simplicity. This is actually why Liver King became so famous at first, was because, I mean, obviously he's polarizing as fuck, but he had these tenets that were go back to nature. And he actually lives his life that way. He was in integrity in that aspect. Go back to nature. Go back to being outside, putting your feet on the ground. Get some grounding sandals if you don't have them already. Earth Poppy. My boy Rob, he's got Earth Papito on X and The Grounded Athlete. He's got a company called Gaia. He sells all types of wide toe shoes as well as the sandals with the copper bottoms, copper bottom piece, so you can conduct when you're walking. All these things are returning us to nature so we can be grounded in reality. And the clients that I'm working with now, I do myofascial release. So it's really simple for me to get them results. It's just like ground them into their body. When I put people back into their body, they have the answers for themselves. And the online space that we're all becoming addicted to, and you could say, oh, I'm not that addicted to it. Well, if you have an iPhone, you're likely more addicted than someone who has a flip phone. I have a buddy, he got married. He did a really good job at maintaining the structural integrity of the family unit, because everything in American society now is trying to strip that. And he got rid of all phones. They have like a family iPad that they all use together. That's it. And they all have flip phones. So like he'll be texting me on a junked up flip phone, and it's just like very straight to the point. He's not sending all these emojis. It's just a tool for communication, and he doesn't get sucked in to anything. And when I talk to him on the phone, he's so much more content than most people because he is not biting from the apple of Eden. Look at the back of your phone, even if it's an Android. Our consciousness is being stripped and our energy is being taken from us. The economy today is an economy based off of attention. If you can hold attention, you can you can own the world, essentially. Like, look at the political spectrum. That's all a stage, taking people out of their own center to focus all of their attention on other things. And when all of that attention goes, 50% on this side, 50% of this side goes towards this big agenda, people, whoever it is, the powers that be, will siphon that energy. So stop letting your energy be siphoned. Come back to simplicity. Come back to nature. Go listen to the birds and the bees. Get into your five senses, and not from a place of I'm in my five senses so that I can get a dopamine fix. Get into your five senses so that you can experience the world. When we raise our level of consciousness, in which we become more conscious, the world, our perspective of it, how we show up, and our overall happiness level and joy levels improve immensely because we don't have a reactivity anymore. I got into a tiff with a family member the other day. I was very proud of myself and of this person because we got into an argument and old patterns came back from the other person. And I just sat, and I was standing, actually. I was standing and I just listened. And this person was shooting bullets at me. Shooting a lot of bullets, saying what my old self would call mean things. But I just, instead of focusing on taking any of that personally, I just rested in my body and listened, breathed, tried staying and coaching myself, saying, you're okay, you're safe. It's like when the bullets are flying, can you tell yourself not to freak out and try and run away? So I just sat in it. This person vented. And then I didn't even say anything. They just go, I'm sorry. And this person never said sorry, ever. They just let it rip. And because I did not react to any of it, they apologized for everything that was said. And it was almost an apology for everything that ever happened in our past relationship. That's how deep it was. And it was because my lack of reactivity, allowed me to just hold space in a container where that person could vent. And it was no longer a venting where there were bullets flying back and forth, because that person shoots an arrow at me and I shoot back. It's a war. That person shoots an arrow at me. I get hit and I smile and I listen and I just say, hey, we don't need to do that. And despite me having an arrow in my rib, the war stops. It completely stops. And then that person's behavior of doing that to you, to other people, it can't exist anymore, because that person just experienced compassion probably for the first time in a very long time. Compassion is the great, I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, Jesus Christ was an absolute savage. Despite what people wrote about him, if I tap into the essence of who that man was, I mean, the balls that guy had to call the people out, the politicians, the sharks, all these people. And if he just did that, he probably would have gotten persecuted quicker. But he had the compassion to back that up. That's what I used to lack a lot of, and it got me into trouble. And then also the other side was having too much compassion to the point where I didn't have the balls to back up the compassion, and I'd get taken advantage of. So we have to be able to balance both sides of being able to call people out, stand in your truth, and then also have the compassion when those people get triggered by the truth. This is why Jesus spoke in parables, because it made it easier for people to 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 take in and absorb information, because it appeared to be myth, but there were stories within those myths that the person could listen to and not take it reactively. This is why mythology survives. And this is one of the arguments I make related to organized religion. It's like I'm watching Vikings again, and it's such a fascinating show because of the religious component. They do a really good job, despite all the gore. They do a really good job at showing the plight of man trying to understand his relationship with God. And the Christians of today's age would call the Vikings pagans, and the pagans of that time called the Christians nutters. And both sides had still very similar belief. In the center of both of their disagreements, what was there? They both believed in some supernatural higher power or force. Now, the pagans believed in multiple gods, whereas the Christians believed in one true God. And it was ultimately the conviction of Athelstan, the priest, that got Ragnar Lothbrok to ultimately die a newborn Christian, because of the conviction he had that God existed and his God existed. And so when we can embody compassion and truth and conviction in our own relationship with our Almighty Creator, the world shifts into our frame, and not from a place of I need to extract people's power, but I'm doing this out of a place of benevolence so that I can serve my fellow man. So much more simple this way. Strip all of the complication in your life and just bring it back to, how can I connect with myself more? How am I not connecting with myself? What are the actions I can take that I'm not doing right now that I know I could be doing, not should be, I could be, or if I choose to? How can I have more compassion for myself to do those things, and to let go of all the judgment and shame of not doing them in the first place? You give yourself enough compassion this way every day, of being able to look at yourself like you would a friend you console when they're crying, you console when they just broke up with their girlfriend or boyfriend, and you look at them with reverence and compassion, and you give them extremely wise words because you objectively only want what's best for them. Well, the simplest thing to do in order to be able to not only be that person for other people, the simplest thing to do to achieve everything you want in this life is to just have more compassion for yourself. The compassion that we can carry for ourselves bleeds out, and not blood from war and power struggle and strife. It is a bleeding of Christedness. It is a bleeding of holiness, in which other humans will see you and the compassion that you hold with strength, which is paired with a backbone of truth. And they will listen to you, and they may disagree with you, but the amount of compassion you have mixed with your strength of truth will allow them to understand everything they need in order to make changes without you having to tell them what to do. And this is where the leadership, if you're on this channel and you're watching this video, you likely have the blood of a leader. Whether or not it's realized, you likely have it. And I do believe everyone has the capacity to be leaders. Do I believe there are sheep walking amongst us? Yes, absolutely. Do I believe those sheep can become leaders? Yes. I was a sheep once. And there's no judgment towards sheep. Yeah, no judgment at all. The only judgment comes if a sheep wants to become a leader and they don't ever venture out and they continue to complain about being a sheep. That's where the judgment is actually fruitful and helpful in order to get that sheep that wants to become the shepherd out of its own cage. But compassion, if you break down the word passion and also compass, it is the passionate compass that steers us back towards the hearts of each other. Where we're at now and where I started beginning to talk in this video was about um, we're venturing into an age of extreme sin in the form of wanting technology, essentially almost wanting to become God through technology. There's technocrats who are um, they might be good people, but it is important to question intentions of even people who appear to be good, because the technocratic world that is being built right now absolutely appears to be another one of extreme fight for power and control. And I'm not going to go back into old patterns that I used to of trying to be a savior to other people, trying to fight against oppression. It's not where my time is best spent because it's emotional, it's reactive. My time is best spent following the passionate compass of compassion and being able to understand that regardless of what happens through this new technocratic world that gets developed, what all of us are ultimately searching for is connection and unity with one another from a very deep level. If we look at anyone with addiction and the feminist versus red pill movement that's going on, it's an extreme polarity of disconnection from one another. And if we look at the disconnection that's occurred, well, how do we bring people back together? Well, we just realize that the other side of the disconnection is connection. And that's actually what we want. So we're in a really weird time frame of society right now. I was filming a video a couple weeks ago, and I stopped myself and I edited and censored myself because I was like, I don't really want to talk about this. It feels too vulnerable. It was interesting because as I've been reflecting on it, it was actually not only my own sentiment, but also what I'm seeing in the collective consciousness of men and women in this war that we're in with one another, and how we become so disconnected. And I was essentially going to start talking about how I've noticed that the dating world has been very different. Like I don't see men and women on dates as much. I will see couples at coffee shops, or sometimes people having a first date at a coffee shop. But compared to what I've seen in the past, it's been really interesting. And since the 2020 era, I think there's been a massive separatism of not only the genders, but also just the hearts of each other. And that separatism has essentially been forced through an over obsession with technology. And so our hearts have now been overstimulated and blocked from being able to understand that the truest form of being able to experience love is by having compassion for the other party. That includes, if you're a man and you resent women, to have compassion for them. It includes if you're a woman and you feel that men are soft, if you feel that men have harmed you, if you've had traumatic experiences with them, if you feel that men are pussies, whatever it is, whatever label you put on them, to have compassion for their side. And it's actually through this compassion that we can understand the other person is a human too, and they have their own experience and it's unique. and it's actually not as unique as your own. And so we don't have to fully empathize in the essence of putting ourselves in another's shoes to the point where we feel it. But sympathy and empathy are slightly different. Sympathy is being able to understand another person's problems, but empathy is really actually feeling it. And so just having sympathy and or empathy is a form of compassion to be able to stop trying to project our own beliefs and how we want our expectations to open into the world, trying to enforce our frame onto other people, and instead allowing God's beauty to unfold by just observing, taking action in the real world. If you're a man, that means going up and talking to women that you find attractive. If you're a woman, that means doing everything in your power to remove the belief systems that men are evil. And if you're a woman, there's tons of topics I can get into in future videos, but if you're a woman, finding more ways to step more into your feminine essence that will attract a man who is in his masculine essence. And so what I'm realizing between these dynamics is I, for the longest time, have had and am continuing to clean old beliefs about what I thought women were. And it's actually a really transcendental and scary and difficult process because I'm realizing, holy shit, every relationship I've had was based on the foundation of old wounds and belief systems that I took on through learning hard lessons and then going and searching for answers and believing somebody else rather than allowing myself to formulate my own opinions as to what the opposite sex is and what I want it to be. So now I'm focusing all of my attention on, instead of looking at aspects or patterns of women and how they act to try and understand them, I'm just solely focused on, what does a divine woman look like to me? What is my perfect uh, future partner? What is my perfect future soulmate, or even future date mate while I'm in the dating space? What does that look like? And that shifts from a victimhood of things aren't working for me or things aren't working the way I want them to be, whether you're a man who has tons of options or you're a man who hasn't gone on a date in years. It, same for women. We're not getting what we want because we have expectations of how they should be, rather than deciding this is the essence of what I'm looking for, and I'm going to change myself internally to be more of that. This is becoming the fisherman rather than relying on someone to fish for you. And so in the collective consciousness, I'm seeing an overstimulation. I'm seeing war on the physical and this ultimately the spiritual front. We are in one of the biggest spiritual wars that has probably ever existed. And what that war encompasses, the the head of that serpent, as it will, is disconnection and separatism. This is what all war is built off of. And so our men have become softer, our women have become harder, less trusting. Our men have become less assertive. Our women have gone the other way and become extremely assertive to the point where they don't know how to let go of control. And of course, I'm not talking about everyone. I'm talking about more of a collective. And so we don't need to go back into the old ways. Like, I do believe, get back into nature. Nature will connect you to what you need to be. But we don't need to go back into the old ways of studying all these things related to how dating patterns and mating and all this red pill bullshit exists. Focus on creating the life you want to create. That is the simplicity of everything. It all comes back to it. Make it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. Focus on that which you want. I have been spending so much time in my past ruminating on, I was spending so much time in my past. I got to reframe that. Be very careful about the language you use as well. I spent so much time thinking about what I did not have. When I wasn't financially secure, I was always thinking about money. Recently, I've been craving and wanting stronger experiences and connection with women. And what have I been focused on? Not having it. And so when I focus on not having it, what I realize is I'm not present in the moment. And then I'm distracted when I'm spending time with my dad. I'm distracted around other people. I'm distracted around when the birds are singing. And I could just be experiencing life as it is, as if I already have my future partner, as if I already have that beautiful woman sitting next to me, spending time with me. Not from a place of extracting her energy to make myself feel better because I'm not whole. And so this is the process of it's very complicated because it's so simple, of just cleaning our fragmented patterns of disconnection. And it always starts with ourselves. So if you have in your mind, you're constantly thinking about not having what you want, a woman, money, a house, an external thing, come back to self. Come back to the present moment. Spend time in solitude. Spend time away from the apple of Eden, which is your phone. What I really like about how I'm showing up in my YouTube channel now and my social media is I don't consume other people's content anymore. There are a couple of guys that I watch for inspiration, and sometimes I do get caught in the algorithm because there's some good stuff out there. But I continue to find myself, in order to connect with myself more deeply, I just come and I shoot these videos. And that's all I'm focused on, is my mission. And so if you want anything in this world, I encourage you to take the more difficult path, which is the simple path. The simple path, the simple course, is to actually take your machete and go a different way that feels connected to you. So that means go a different way in dating. Does that still mean listen to advice of people who have results that you want? Yes. But follow the fear that your heart is telling you to follow. Take that machete and start cutting your own course. Life is very simple. If you want a unique, wonderful life, I value uniqueness. I find it to be such a beautiful thing. None of these trees here in this environment are the same. They could be the same breed or whatever you call it, but none of them are the same. It's the same with humans. We might have the same patterns, cognitive distortions, beliefs, values, but none of us are the same. And so the hardest yet simplest thing to do in this life is to find exactly what you want to be doing and do it in all areas. And go and get your hands dirty figuring it out on your own. Listen to advice of people who have the results you want, but go take their advice and get your hands dirty. Don't spend years like I did reading all of these books, preparing to be ready. If you want to be a warrior, start training with other warriors. If you want to court a beautiful woman, start by trying to court beautiful women. That's really it. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. Live a simpler life. Remove the complication that is constant consumption. Produce more in whatever form feels best to you, and life will be simpler. And through a simpler life, life will be more beautiful, it'll be more fruitful, and it is the course that is less traveled. and it will be a course when you're on your deathbed that you're much more content with because you did the hard thing, which was being simple, not a simp. I'll see you in the next one.